I love walking anyway. It's an excuse not to be sitting down. All of you need to be walking afterwards. It's good for health. So, a show of hands, anybody in the audience that called himself an entrepreneur? A show of hands. Okay, we only have two. First of all, being an entrepreneur, it's an amazing, noble cause for humanity. So, first of all, congratulations for taking one of the most loneliest job in the world. You need stamina. So, my name is Marcel Dridje. I was in Yushu many times. And one of the humbling moments that I wish to all entrepreneurs is when you fail. You need to fail. You need to fail an experiment in the lab. You need to fail a go-to-market strategy. You need to fail maybe forecasting your financials, thinking you're going to have cash flow in the next 3 months and you won't have nothing. So failure, for me, where I sit, it's a humbling moment that I wish for all entrepreneurs. So my career started as an engineer at IBM a long time ago. I used to have hair, long time ago. And then one day, I completely was fascinated by entrepreneurs like you. And I said, before I jump in being an entrepreneur, I want to learn inside a startup. That's what I wanted to do. So my quest in life for the last 25 years, I went to Silicon Valley to talk to VCs, venture capitalists, and ask them, what is that startup in USA that want to come to Europe, Middle East, and Africa? Because all my life, I did business development. I love the challenge, like you have a challenge to say, I start in Turkey. Inshallah, I'm going to be successful in Turkey. And then shall I go just guessing and say next one is Saudi Arabia or France or UK? It doesn't work that way. You really need to do a lot of homework, market research, a market fit. So I'm going to give you examples and then I'm going to summarize what investors are expecting from you. So I'm going to walk you through my humble experience and lesson learned so I can share it with you. So one company called Airspace, it's a Wi-Fi, 2001. Who remember the year 2000 in the room? Maybe only a few, maybe. In 2000, the whole technology sector crashed to the ground. Think about it. And the reason why I mention that, I always say crisis equal opportunities. The same thing with COVID. How many of you know many entrepreneurs that crashed to the ground, but many entrepreneurs were lucky being there at the right place to absolutely be successful. So my story to all of you, when you have a challenge, when there's a crisis, I always say it's a fantastic opportunity. As long as you have that courage to pivot. So you're going to hear me a lot talking about pivoting. You need to pivot sometimes, same technology, same idea, but you say, you know what, B2B or B2B2C, or I need a partner, I'm in the channel, selling direct, indirect, maybe it doesn't work. Maybe I should stop for a second and do a white labeling because there's a big company in front of me that can help me go to market to their customers. So what did I learn? A couple of things. An entrepreneur needs to be resilient. Resiliency is one of the DNA, and this is for ladies as well. You have to be resilient and don't believe or don't let anyone to tell you it's impossible or tell you you're not going to succeed, you're going to fail. So resiliency. And the second one I like in an entrepreneur, I'm expecting all of you entrepreneurs to think the same thing. You need to be a hustler. You need to be a hustler. How many no's? How many no's you're going to have from an investor? How many no's you're going to have? Mr. Customer, I want to do a POC. They say, sorry, don't have time for you. So you need to be hustling all the time, especially the founders, because it starts there. So one thing guided me in my life, both as an entrepreneur, as an investor, and I tell you how I came into investing, and as a professional coach and mentor to both executive and to founders of startup, literally around the world. I do a lot of mentoring via Zoom. What did I learn? There's something that keeps coming to me all the time. It's a framework called VSEN. It's a very barbaric acronym that maybe you need explanation. What's a VSEM? Let me guess. How about you? What do you think V stands for? Just guess, just for fun. Visual. Okay. How about you? What do you think V stands for? Just for fun. Okay. How about you, lady, sitting in the front? V, you hear the word V, an acronym. What's that? Vector. Okay, vector, visual, interesting. So in my framework, and this applies to all the founders and entrepreneurs, V for vision. You wake up one day and you say, I have a vision. I want to basically change the world. I have a problem there. You were talking about cancer. You were talking about vaccine. You were talking about cybersecurity. You have a vision that you don't like how the others are tackling it. You don't like the idea on how other vendors are failing or succeeding, etc., etc. So a V for vision, what I like about that one is the vision for an entrepreneur can easily become the culture of the company. When you start hiring, inshallah, you're a CTO or a CEO, you're going to need some marketing, some sales, some business development, some product management. The first thing you should do to them to sell them your vision. And the reason why it's important, because that product manager, that director of marketing, he will be as well acquiring talent. He will be interviewing the same way as you interviewed him. So a vision is really important. The S, how about the S? What do you think S stands for in the area of entrepreneurship? What's that S? Anything that comes to your mind. Can say anything. S, strop, job, Europe. No, S. Strategy. Wow, he picked it up. You were going to say the same thing. Awesome. S for why is it important? You sit with your team and you say, guys, we're in Turkey, we're sitting in Ankara, or sitting in Istanbul or Izmir. Our first maybe to make the bloody thing work first. That's a strategy. Or you can say, we have some customers in our town. We need to knock at their door and do a proof of concepts. That can be a strategy. But you know what? The most successful entrepreneur in the world, they keep changing their strategy. Vision doesn't change much, but strategy every 3 months, it could be a marketing, it could be accessing to investors, the type of customer you're going to look for. So strategy change all the time. How about E? E, letter. What do you think? E. Easy, as an example. Equality. That's a good one. From diversity. I like that one. What do you think E stands for? How about you, ladies? In your life, in your day-to-day life as an entrepreneur, what do you think E can stand for? Was that? Equipment. Okay, excellent. Was that? Expectation. Interesting. How about if I tell, sorry? Experience. You see, a lot of ease in entrepreneurship. Well, in my book, this is where most of the entrepreneurs fail. It's a lousy execution. That's what all of us, including me, if we don't do the right strategy, if we don't have the right vision, from an execution perspective, that's what we fail. Would you agree with that? But here you go. Execution alone doesn't mean nothing. The M I mentioned, VSEM, in order to execute across your company, across your startup, across your project, you have to be decent and honest intellectually to give metrics, KPIs. So for your engineers, it could be the 2.1 version we needed in the next 45 days. Well, guess what? They have to execute against that. Me as a salesman, I promised $1 million by Q2. I have to execute. So you can have all the examples what the team need to execute. Okay? So that's my framework. I always share it when I do mentoring of startups. That's what resonates the most. Okay. So now let's presume you had an idea, and all of us in the room, I think even that little child, if he can speak, he will give you 1,000 ideas per hour. We're all capable of having ideas, all of us. So when we are an entrepreneur, let's make sure that idea of yours, you talked to customers. How many of you go and even talk to customers? In my book, if I don't go to my friends, my circle of friends, if I don't go to my professor, I was at INSEAD in France, if I don't go and ask them, I miss something. We learn very, very amazingly a 360 view if we ask people. So that's the first thing I do. I have to ask, would you buy for me this thing that does this and this and this if I make it? It starts there. So it's very important that you look around you and ask those questions before. And then who can tell me the concept of FFF? Have you heard about this word before? F, F, and F. Anybody? Failing. Friends. Fail. Okay. Force. Excellent. So as an investor, I always would recommend that when you have an idea, the best people that will believe in you, sorry to say that, it's family, friends, and fools like me. That's the FFS. It's called love money. So if you go and ask those friends, very close friends, I'm crazy, I have this crazy idea, I need €5, I need $15, I want 50, it doesn't matter. That's where it starts. Because that idea needs some efforts. At the same time, people like friends and family, and sometimes fools like me, because sometimes, most of the time, I lose my money anyway. But that's not the point. So you have to think about love money first. And then, who knows the MVP? What MVP stands for? MVP. A minimum viable product. It means you as a researcher who've been working so hard in the lab, but you know at one point you need to show a prototype. You need to show a proof of concept. So you need to have an MVP. This is the language of investors. Do you have an MVP? And the answer should be, yes, I have an MVP. How many customers did you show your MVP? Internally, externally, small, medium enterprise, a university lab, a big company, it doesn't matter. So you have to have an MVP. And then you come to me, and usually you talk to business angels around the world. My advice to all the entrepreneurs, please do your research. Do your research. You are so lucky. You have LinkedIn, social network, and I have many, many people coming to see me saying, I want to make this amazing agri-tech company that will do this and this and this. But they did not research me. So most of the time I say, I'm the wrong guy. And you know why? Because you decided to have a technology in your field. Well, guess what? Business angels, investors, they are subject matter experts. I'm sorry, they're only humans anyway. They have only a certain vertical. They can really add value and understand it. So please do your homework before you talk to business angels. So the good news about business angels, like my club is 40 people based in Nice, in the southwest of France. We're called Sophia Business Angel. We've been around for 20 years. And then we have a long, bigger federation based in Brussels that work with the EU Commission in a lobbying fashion called EBAN, European Business Angel Network. It's all the 25 countries club that federated together. And what we do two things. We co-invest, of course, that's why startups come and talk to us. But the biggest job we do, we lobby the EU Commission to give more grants to incubators, to accelerators, and to startups. That's our job. Now then, I'm sitting there, and you are here, and you're pitching at me. I'm going to ask you a question. What do you think those 8 magical slides, that's how I call them, 8, you should present to me? I'm going to put you on the spot. Because I know you have in your deck, top of my head, maybe you have 300 slides. Would you agree with that? Okay. So what are those 8 most important slides? I'm sitting here with my investor friends and you are pitching. What do you think you should have in those 8? Problem, solution, business model, market, maybe user experiences, the team. What else? I couldn't remember. Excellent. I'm gonna go to. You're an entrepreneur.
Good day, sir. I believe also. Good day once again. I believe also why now and market slide is important. We should show how big the market is, some, how we are entering this market, and how big is the serviceable, obtainable market.
Excellent. How about a lady? Lady, you're an entrepreneur. Did you hear the question I was asking? Okay. What are those 8 typical slides that I would like to hear as an investor?
As an investor, the most if the project is able to have evolution. If I'm an investor, I need to know if this product has only this version or can be developed. It's the most.
Thank you very much. Thank you. All right. Between the 3 answers, you're already spoken. You're not allowed. You only spoke once. We have to give it once.
Innovation, and competitor analysis.
Excellent. Did you hear all the 4 answers? You're almost there. Between the 4 answers, you're almost there. Okay, let me walk you through. And by the way, what I'm giving you as an advice, you're sitting in Qatar, you're sitting in Istanbul, you're sitting in Paris, in Athens, in Cork, in San Francisco, same thing. That's the beauty about it. Why? Because startup world started 70 years ago and people learned many things. You have so many slides that you developed. The first thing I ask all the entrepreneurs, please do not let anyone ask you to delete or to destroy that slide that you worked very hard for it. Keep it. You put an appendix and you have all the other slides behind the appendix. And then bring those 8 slides that I'm going to mention. The first one, remember that vision, strategy, metric, execution, it plays very well. What is that problem? that is not letting me sleep. Something I'm really passionate about to resolve. I'm looking at you as well. You are passionate about what you're doing. So I need to look, first slide, what I heard today, please, including you, don't put too much information in that problem resolving thing. Just one slide explaining in the most, even if you are a PhD technology, I'm an engineer, I can tell you about a lot of things in networking. Just one slide saying, what is the problem I'm solving? It could be an illness that you're passionate about and you want to cure. You want to say, I want to cure it using AI. You're curing with a new protein. It doesn't matter what it is. One slide. Why am I insisting on this? You remember those 7 slides that you were telling me what is the problem? Well, guess what? Investors have thousands of projects that comes at them. They cannot take all the information. It's too complicated for them. So they switched off. You lost them. And then, all the slides you have, if they pick you up, you have all the time to do the due diligence, technical and financial, so you can explain to them how it works. And believe me, they will ask you. So the first slide, it is what is the problem you're trying to solve. Second slide, I like always to see is the solution. In the solution, I think one of the entrepreneurs was amazing. He explained it both a hardware and software solution. It's very important to articulate what is your solution. Is it just a SaaS software over the cloud? That's okay. But make sure you explain what is the solution. You can have 3 bullets. You can say, my solution is a tier solution 1, solution 2, solution 3 to my problem. It's okay. But only 1 slide. The third one, some of you mentioned it, and you mentioned it. How does it work? If it's a hardware, it's a software, I like to see a high-level technical slide, at least to give me a high-level view. Is it a flow of processes? Is it in the core? Is it a hardware? Is it a box? Is it an app? By putting the app, etc. So how does it work? All right? The fourth one, and one of you mentioned it, a market fit. Is your idea, you are convinced there is a market fit? How many of you try to educate the market too early and nobody bought anything? So you have to mention why the time shift, why now that market fit is. You have to really explain it, that there is some stars aligning for this to have a market fit. And then the next slide would be, and most of you did it, which is good, total addressable market. The only thing was missing, most of you, please mention the source of the information. At the bottom of your slide, for investors, you become credible because you say, according to the Alzheimer Association report 2023. Because investors look at you and say, oh, it's a guesswork. This is a 2 trillion business. And you say, wow, guess what? Investors don't get impressed with numbers. Just be aware of it. While you're talking, you'll be amazed how many investors they go to Google or ChatGPT, and they will actually put a query, you know, in that vertical, how much are we talking about? And they can challenge you. So please, I would say the common trait of a good entrepreneur, be intellectually honest. Believe me, it really pays off. On the long term, so total addressable markets worldwide, the region, and then the country where you are based, because it shows me that you're starting here to solve a problem here, but you're going global. And the most successful entrepreneur in general, they think global. They don't look at a small country like Estonia or Qatar as a small. They need to look at the worldwide. The regional MENA is absolutely an amazing marketplace. So you have to have that in those numbers. And then I heard a lady who was here, which you did very well, is when you said, I have no competition. It's good. It's good to say there's nothing wrong with that. But for investors, it's much more recommendable that you say, you know what? This existed before me. This company did this and this. However, my unique business value proposition is this. It's okay. You should not invent a competitor if you don't have one. But what we don't like is when somebody says, I'm the first one, I'm the best one, and the competition does not exist. And the reason why in where we sit, competitors are healthy to you, to the market, to the investor. We like to have compete because that means it's a bigger market, which is a larger opportunities. Very, very important. Okay, competition. And then one of the things I hear, a lot of entrepreneurs, especially founders, they speak a lot about I, me, me. I can be CFO, CTO, businessman, business development, a product manager, and so forth. Wrong. The most compelling story I hear from good entrepreneur is when we say, I am a geek, I'm a techie, I am a passionate about research. There's nothing wrong with that. However, I'm building a team, or I built a team because we are complementary to each other. One of them is more financial, one is more marketing, etc. For investors, it's very important for the diversity of the team. Very important. And then we go to the next slide, and this is where most founders half fail. Very seldomly, they ace it. Some of them fail it completely, some of them half fail it, and some of them very rarely they get it right. So it's called the ask question, the ask slide. How many of you missed the opportunity in the ask slide to be very, very focused and saying, I am looking for smart money? Because if you're looking for a check, I will encourage you to go and talk to your bank or to some mortgage company or whatever, mortgage your house. So please, please focus. Business angels like me, because we have a history, because we have a career, we're here to augment your support and to help you rather than give you a hard time. So it's called smart money. What does that mean? I'm looking for a check from you, but allow me to ask you, who are you? What do you do? That's where the research comes from. Oh, this guy, his startup, one of my startups got acquired by Cisco. So as it happened, one of you was talking about cybersecurity. And they say, I want to talk to Cisco. Cisco is a 75,000 employee across the planet. Who are you going to talk to? So maybe me investing in you, mentoring you, and coaching you, I can open the door to the right business unit that you need to talk to. That's why it's very important to do research. So please, please, one of the asks, I'm looking for smart money. It's very important. Second ask, I'm looking for 500K. And I've seen some slides. I'm looking for 500K. That's okay. How am I going to spend it? Why is it important for investors to understand that? Because when you say half of that is going to be in sales, and I know that you just started in a small town or in a town in a new country, and you're looking for that much of money, I'm going to challenge you. Are you hiring a business development guy to do Turkey or to go international? So it's very important to explain what that 500K is for. It could be 100% research and development or 100% for my product development. So you need to give what are you going to spend that money for. And then the valuation. Who said valuation? Was it you? Yeah. A lot of people say, I'm looking for 1 million. And I'll explain to you why I need that million, and they explained it very well. But investors, I'm sorry to speak about myself, we're very down-to-earth people. It's like digital technology, 1 or 0. There's no gray area. 1 million and something is missing. How much equity is at stake against that 1 million? One of the lady, I think she's a VC, she gave an advice by saying, don't put 10%. Why do you think that is important? Because if you're familiar with the cap table, you as an entrepreneur, you want to maximize the ownership of your equity for the next 4, 5, 7 years before an exit. Would you like to start at 10% and you keep 90%, and then quicker enough, you look at the math 4 years later and you say, damn, I did not look at it. I'm only owning 30% of the company. I don't think you're going to like that because you worked hard for it. So business angels have one advantage. They give you the right advice. They say, you know what, where you are, more than 3% is too much. It's very important to do the pushback. Because some entrepreneur, they say 10%, and you will see some hawks. I call them hawks anyway. They say, wow, here's the money. So make sure that you give value to that technology that you worked hard to develop and present. Okay? The other one in the ask I did not see. I'm looking for subject matter expert in my field. Specifically, I know my market is in Germany for whatever reason. You can write it. I'm looking for an investor who can open Siemens for me. I'm saying Siemens because I have a friend of mine from Siemens, that's all. It's very important to be specific in the ask. Okay? That's basically those 8 magical slides that investors are expecting you to have. Now then, I'm going to ask a question. What do you think me as an investor, outside the 8 slides, I'm looking for? What one subject that we don't speak about in the 8 slides, but what do you think investors are looking for? It's not said, but it's implied.
I don't know. Maybe
Anything.
the last slide.
No, there's no slide. It's there. Nobody talk about it. But the entrepreneur should be aware of. ROI. I'm going to invest my time, my energy, opening doors for you. I'm expecting a return on investment. It's very important that you think that investor, people will lie to you that you think we're doing it for free and we're doing it for nothing because we're passionate. We have an underlying thing saying, will this lady give me a 5x ROI in the next 7 years? So that question will slide, we don't talk about it.
Should it be in the first presentation, first pitching, or we're going to deeper?
Should the ROI be in the presentation? You should not write it, but you can end the speech of your presentation and say to the mentors, to the investors audience, and you will say something like this. Of course, it goes without saying, if you invest in us, you expect a great return on investment. So that's how you, but it's not written. Okay? So now, do you have any questions? Was it clear? Good. Excellent. Thank you very much. Thank you.